Zoom. Welcome everyone to PR, Public Relation Webinars. Tonight we're going to be talking about social media and how it can help you in your Toastmasters land. I made it a little bit longer than my normal hour because this might be my last webinar. One, because Zoom will be going away for me for some personal reasons, but my husband has come to me and we are going to be early retiring, and I really mean early. The boy's 40 and I'm 50, so super early. And that means a lot of travel, and I don't really know one place that I'm going to be. So, yoo-hoo! Traveling is a bonus, but that means I don't know if I'll be here next month. I might be visiting Costa Rica to check it out, or Puerto Rico, or somewhere still here in the States, because I will still live here in the States. And it's, do you live with the mom in Mexico or the friend up in Iowa, where I lived for many years, by the way, in Iowa. So it has its advantages, and that's the other place that I may or may not be. So these might pick up once I get a little knowledge of where I'm going to land for the next few months, but I want to make sure before the end of this month I had an opportunity to share with you as much as I could and to give you more for public relations. So like I said, go ahead and rename or put in the chat where you're from. And a lot of these times it's funny because I just tend to see that so many times people find the person that said something and that's where they got their connection. And I am offering almost like a gateway to you guys, because I'm starting out the conversation, but then next thing you know, oh, well, what about this? And we do this in our club, and oh, that's great. And I hear people start utilizing that. And believe me, I have no problems with that. That's great. I'm glad that I can be a resource for you to have that sacred space and that safe space. So I hope that that will be helpful to you. And if you're new, I always tell people, pop up, post in the chat. Let me know if you have a question. Don't be afraid to interrupt me. I don't have a Zoom host watching, so if there's a question in there and I'm missing it, you're welcome to come on in and just see, say, hey, there's a chat, or I have a question, because I am going to be sharing. And if you've done sharing in Zoom, that little chat button goes way up at the top and you don't get to see it sometimes. You're off in your own land. So we'll go from there. But I'm going to task Keith, if you'll take it on, Keith Hardy. If you see something in the chat and I'm not getting to it right away, please go ahead and unpop your mic and say, hey, we got a question here. So good. All right. Welcome, welcome. So I'm going to start right off by sharing my screen and sharing a couple of things with you guys. And one of those is that there's a lot of great resources for you to utilize on social media. Tonight, I want to talk to you about Facebook, about how you can utilize Facebook for your clubs. And this is one of my clubs, Eloquent Entrepreneurs. So we're going to talk about that, how you can utilize it now in the new 2021 version with all of this craziness off to the side here, and then how to do an event. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, some flyers and things that I have as well. Also, we're going to talk about Canva and how you can utilize Canva for your clubs. Canva is a great resource to be able to, sorry, people are coming in the waiting room still, to be able to do your flyers, your open house, you're having a guest night, you're doing a social event. One of my clubs, we're doing a social event 12 hours later. So our club is normally 7:30 in the morning, and everyone's like, no, don't want to do that. So we're having an event 7:30 at night as a way to let the members know that there's a place there for them and let the guests know. So something different that you can do in Canva like that. So that's really good. And then we're going to talk about Instagram, about how you can utilize Instagram for your Toastmasters. And then I want to bring something up that I'm going to share with you guys and send to those who registered, that just came into my knowledge from another event, and that is Eventbrite for Toastmasters. And I just did this because I had an event February 13th, and I am a Zoom master, and I'm very protective of my events, and I'm very protective of people Zoom bombing. I don't want that to happen. So a great way to do that is to actually have your meeting, even your regular meeting or a special event meeting, on Eventbrite, and then those people get the Zoom link. So then you're not blasting out your Zoom information and, you know, having a potential Zoom bombing. So something that's kind of really unique that you can do. So I want to kick this off. Just one more welcome before I go back to screen share mode for you, but I wanted to give you a little breather break from looking at a screen. And we're going to start right in. I have on my little notes here of all the many things I have to talk to you about, that I really want to talk to you guys about Canva first. And the reason why is because Canva has a lot of great tools that you can utilize. Now, I use Canva to create the banner that I did for my event for Facebook. This is considered a Facebook post in the templates. And this is also the event flyer about that event that I was just talking to you about. Where you find that in is in the template section. If you just mouse over, you don't even have to click on it. All of these magnificent templates are going to come and show you lots of great ideas. Now, some of the Canva templates have this crisscross thing in them, and that means that you'll have to pay for that. But what's really cool is if you think outside of the box, you rarely have to pay for something, because you can find it copyright free on Google if you do the correct search, then download it to your computer and upload it to Canva. That's my little life hack for getting away things on Canva that you don't need. But the cool thing is there's tons of things that are in here that are free that you can utilize. Now, one of the cool things about Canva is that it has this cool thing called a brand kit. So when you first come to Canva, you'll probably come to a page like this. So I want to make sure you know, because sometimes people say, well, that doesn't look like the page Trixie was on. So this is where you usually come to. And then once you start making designs, here's your designs. Now, one of the things that I have is I have a couple of different accounts. So if I go here, I can switch. This is my friend's team, my team, and then the stuff for District 26, which is the page that we're on now. So I can see that and see everything that I've been working on. I can see other stuff that I've done in the past, a VPR handbook, networking, using the logos, etc. What's cool is it does take a little work, but Canva has what's called a brand kit area. So this is completely blank when you first come to it. When you click in here, you can add a logo from somewhere on your desktop, wherever you have saved that. And how to do that is that you're actually going to go, and I didn't have this ready yet, forgive me, but you go to Toastmasters, and then you can either type in logos or you can put in PR, and it'll take you to where those design elements are. There it is, right there, design elements. And the tedious part, but I promise you it will make your job easier in the long run, is to take these and the other PR materials and the other design elements and download them. And once you download them, then you will have access to a lot more for your Canva. Now, if you go to, oh, it was there, it was in Brand Portal. I just need to go back one. Brand Portal. The other thing that you'll want to grab is right here in the stationery templates. Let me get my annotate on here somewhere. Okay, never mind. Off to the left is brand manual, photo contest, etc. Right here where it says stationery templates, hopefully you're all able to see that. You click on that. I like to open that in another tab, so my tab stays where I was at. And then here's the resource library for different templates and things that you also can load to your file, and then you can also load them up to Canva. So that is basically what I have done. I've done that research and gathered all the logos from that field and gathered all of the things and the little flyers, etc. Even the brand colors. I found out what the hex color was, so that way I made sure that this hex color is what is in the branding handbook, so you can have that. And then it also shows you in the branding handbook for Toastmasters what fonts you're allowed to use. And Montserrat is a huge one that you can use here in Canva that is very similar to Gotham, which is what's allowed in the brand manual. And it says in the brand manual that you can use Montserrat. And I'm probably saying that wrong, but that's the way I say it. So there's all the fonts that I can use and everything is right there. Now, what's cool about these designs is once that's there, excuse me, you can use Canva now for a content planner. So if you want to have a social media planner, okay, I did this flyer, it's going out for the event at the end of the month. I'm doing an open house, it's going over here. You can even plan that here. And this is a brand new version of this tool. That's why you don't see anything on here for me, because they just loaded it not that long ago. And then you can see all of your folders, anything that you've got in there, what you've purchased, etc., and simple stuff from there. Now,
So
let's say, go ahead. Somebody have a question?
A fair bit of work to get it up to speed. So I'm wondering, would it be, can other people, like, could we just access your Canva?
So you can't
Or
access mine because mine's personal, because I'm no longer, I don't have a district account anymore. Some people do, like District 26 owns their district account. But what I do have, and I'll resend it to you guys for this call, especially since this is maybe the last one for a while. I have a VPPR folder. So in that VPPR folder is all these logos, the links to all of that type of stuff is right there. So from that VPR folder, you can load them up. There might be a couple of new things that are missing. If you go to brand photography at toastmasters.org, they have all these really cool pictures that you can get now to use as stock photos, so you don't have to use something else. But again, that one's a little tedious. I don't have that uploaded to the Google Drive, but let me make a note.
So now what I'm wondering is, would it make sense for could a district upload all this and then all the clubs be able to access it through the district?
So yes, so that's what I do. So that's what the VPPR drive is. So I created that when I was District Public Relations Manager for D26. So all of that was in there. And then I had a VPPR drive and all of this was underneath there. Press release templates, all of that. And then I just sent it out to all my VPPRs in the club. Usually that happens not long after this time because we just all went through training. So when the VPPRs get their training, I have that list and then I would send it out to them. I also have a VPPR Facebook group and I load that Google Drive and then pin it to the Facebook group, so that way they can access that at any time. So definitely if you're district PR, you have somebody in the district who can do that, that's the best thing to do, is one stop and then send it out to everyone. Unfortunately, they don't have that in the region yet. I am the new Region 4 Public Relations Manager, but what's unique about that is there's never ever been a Public Relations Manager for a region, as far as we know. Nobody's told me otherwise yet. So I'll say that disclaimer, because you know somebody's going to be like, no, so-and-so did it over here. I'm sure maybe somebody did, but it's unique to our area. And that's what I think ideally would be great, is if a region PR did that brunt work and then sent it to the districts, then the districts could send it down. But we're not there yet. But I will look at uploading the brand photos into the VPPR drive for you guys at least. And if all else fails, I'll give you those links. Then at least you'll be directed right to it. So that'll be a step in the right direction. Any other questions before I go on? Okay.
There's one in the chat, Trixie.
What's that, Keith?
There's a question in the chat.
Are we? Yes, we are able to view this later as a recording. Everyone that registered, even if they're not here right now, we'll get this as a recording, and it is streaming live on Facebook right now in the event. So you can also grab it from the Facebook event as well. Okay. Thank you, Sheila, for that question. All right, back to the basics. So this is what you would be considered a blog post, so to speak, from Facebook. So I should have asked, let me unscreen, who knows about Canva and understands Canva at all? Anyone? Crystal, Giovanni. Okay, because I don't want to be telling you guys stuff that you already know, because then you'll be like, this is boring. Okay. So when you go into the template, so if you see it's the general here, when you go in and you pick one of the templates or you pick the design, off to the left here, you have different things now. Now you have templates, where you place your uploads, where you put your photos, well, where photos are at technically, any elements that you want to add, arrows, lines, circles, stickers, etc. If you want to add text, there's different ways of adding text, and then different styles. So this is part of that color scheme that I was talking about. Because I already inputted the brand colors, I have the perfect red, perfect blue, perfect yellow, and perfect Toastmasters gray right here. So that's ready to go. Uploads are any pictures like this one here that I have off to the side. This is pictures that I got from that branded photos that I was telling you about. So if I wanted to use that, I could click on that and it would go right in the center. So lots of just fun little things that you can do with uploads. You can upload videos, which then you can embed into your designs, and now you can upload audio, which is super cool. Video and audio was not something that you could do before, so it's really great that you're able to do that now. There we go. Now for the photos, there are some, so when you mouse over, hopefully you're able to see that it says free right there. So I'll, oh, of course it doesn't make that side bigger, makes that one. If it does cost you, it would actually have a little $sign. Like this one says pro. So that one would cost you. So what I would do, the hack that I said, is if I saw this and I wanted this, like maybe this one with the book, I was looking for a journal book or an open book, I'd go out to Google and look up open book, and then go to images, and you go to the tools and settings, and you can check to see if it's copyright free. Sometimes you can use it, it'll say labeled for use without reuse. So you can't like a redo, you can't do anything to it, but you can use it as is. Some of them say labeled for use with, you know, additions or something like that. So just watch to make sure that you are using something that's copyright free. Don't, you know, put something out there that is somebody else's. That's just naughty and not nice. Okay, hold on. So what I want to show you is, let's say that you wanted to utilize this template, but you want to change it. So the reason why I made a copy of it is so that I could do whatever I wanted to it. So a lot of times I might have these templates and it looks great, but this isn't really what I want. But I don't really know what I want just yet. So I'm just going to hit that duplicate page. So right there is your duplicate. If you mouse over, meaning you don't click on it, you just scroll over, it'll tell you what a lot of these are. That's going to delete your page, and this is going to add another page. So that just adds another page down here, but it doesn't duplicate what you had before. So now maybe I want to take one of the other pictures that I uploaded from Toastmasters headquarters, and I want to use this gal that's real excited. So I just drag her, hold that there, and just drop that in. Now that put that in there without me having to maneuver it. So maybe I want to change the font a little bit. You can move that around. Oops, sorry, I got some things going on here. And maybe you want to change the color scheme. So a lot of these you can just drag, or you can go in and you can change whether or not you want that to be more clear or white or whatever you want it to be. Now what it's showing you is what's called transparency. And that is these little things off to the side here. And you can change that transparency to have nothing covering her. Maybe I want to see more of her, or maybe I just want a little shadowing there. I don't really want it to be all over because she hides, and we don't want to do that. But that first one that I saw, that's a little too much. I don't want to do that. So I'm going to change that. And what's great about these, just like if you've used any type of editing tool, you just grab the corners or grab the edges, pull things around to where you want it to be. And what you can't see, I'm trying to move it up so you can see it more. Right down in here, there's a little circle, and you can turn that around whichever way you want. So maybe you want to do something more that's tilted or on the side or something of that nature. So I am going to go back. So a quick shortcut is Control Z. If you want to go back to where you were at, you don't want to have to try and fidget with everything. So this is actually League Gothic, and I would actually be changing it because I was asked by headquarters, well, by a friend on a friendly way that said, all right, you know better than that. That's not an approved font. And I said, okay, so I will change it today while we're in the meeting. So League Gothic is not approved. So I really shouldn't have used that because it's not standard. Do people use fonts that they're not supposed to? Yep, they do it all the time. Do they use pictures that they're supposed to, not supposed to? Yep, they do that too. I would say if you're a district leader, especially if you're PRM or VPPR, try to know the rules and stick with them. So I'm going to switch this to Montserrat, and that's a little big. So I can either take this cursor and pull it down, or I can go up here into the font area and I can hit the minus and get that smaller, or I could actually click right in there and say, I want it to be a lot smaller. And then now I have that and it goes back to the regular area. If you want to drag it around, you kind of pull it into the area there. And then now you have a new flyer. So what does that matter? What do you want to do now that I've created it? Well, in this little area here up at the top, there's an arrow and it lets you download it. Now, in the days where we would have live club meetings, we probably would use the print version because we're going to print it, or PDF standard. But because we're using digital so much, I don't hardly even use PDF right now because it's pointless for me to have it that way. So I click on that and I go up here to PNG. Now, many of you have heard of JPG or JPEG, and that's great. It's better than nothing. It's better than something called TIFF or other things or a document. But JPEGs are more squareized pixels. So there's sometimes that graininess, which doesn't really matter too much if we're digital, but if you want to have a really good crisp image on someone's phone, if they're looking at it, or their website, I usually go with PNG because it gives you the best one. Now you would actually save that. And because I have 2 pages, I need to tell them, I don't want both of them. I just want page 2. And then I say done. But that's not really done. Just so you know, that's a little tip to think of. Now you actually download it. So all you're doing here is choosing your page. You're saying done, I chose my page. Now you say download, and then it'll start downloading and populate that in whatever folder you want that to be in. And I will put that in documents, and I should have a Toastmasters folder here somewhere. Well, we'll just put it in downloads then. Not worry about it. Yeah. And then you click out of that, and then you have that you can use for your next event. So if I were to go and I wanted to create, nope, not that one. There, I wanted to upload this design, or I wanted to change it. Now I can go ahead and I can load that in there, and I could do that if I so wanted to. Because this event is happening right now, it's not going to let me probably do a lot of editing. I don't think. Yeah, no, because it's happening right now. So that's just a little one thing that you can do. The other great thing is, like I said, you can utilize this for flyers. So they give you a ton of different flyers. They give you a ton of different posters. Make sure when you're looking at the templates at the difference, because, whoops, sorry, a poster, it doesn't say right there, but a poster is considered one of those large posters where you can shrink it down, but if you were to accidentally print it, it would just keep printing this big page. It's like, you know, almost like the thing on my wall, like it's like big. Flyer is your smaller one. So definitely look at those too. All right, now I saw chat pop up, but unless Keith interrupts me, I'm not paying attention to that. Okay. So one of the things I wanted to show you is for these flyers, what's really cool is I start with something that I really liked. So I will find one of these templates. Let me move my Zoom out of the way. I'll find one of these templates that I really like and go from there. Okay, let's look through here and see what I want. And you can input in here if there's something specific, like maybe you're having a special theme meeting on hats and you want to see what kind of flyers are out there for hats. So you could do that. You could look at different things. Oh, this looks cool. This might be fun to put our pictures in, whatever that is. So just find one that looks like where you want to start from. And that's what I do. So I started with this one, this workbook. And the more I got to looking at it, I thought, well, okay, I'm going to have to take this background out because that's not going to be Toastmaster approved. I can fix with some of the color schemes and the fonts here and still make it fun and add the logo, but maybe I should look at a different one. So then I found this one, which actually was a flyer for an actual open house, like that you go see someone's house. But then I just changed it to being from a picture of a house to being a Toastmasters approved picture, dragging and dropping it into here, and then just entering in the different text in here. So all you do is just simple, simple situation there. You're just updating the text or changing it or adding new ones, whatever you want to do. You can make that all capitals. You can make it bold, unbold, whatever you want. All your tools are right up in here. This is where you can change your fonts. It will give you different fonts to look at. That's where if you don't have the work in Canva already put in, just look for Montserrat or look for Arial or look for Gothic or Times New Roman, pretty basic stuff. Your colors are here, your color schemes. If you happen to know what the hex color is, like from the website, you would just copy that and put that down in this area here. So where those zeros are. That's another way to play around with it if you are so that advanced. Of course, you have your justification, alignment, etc. And then what's in these three little dots? Well, that's the rest of it. That's what we call the kitchen table in the graphic design world, right? Where this is everything now. We've got the whole thing plus the kitchen table. So it was hiding. So in here, you'll see if you want to duplicate this area, if you want to lock it, like maybe you're a district trio and you have this made, but you don't want anyone to change it. You just want them to look at it and give you the input. So you lock it so that way they can't do anything to it, but that way you could still share it. And then you have link if you wanted to add a link in this, because that's the cool thing. We're in social media, so you can do that. This is your transparency. This is your copy style basics, and then where you want it positioned and how you want the letters. So there's just some little things that you can do there. How do you add transparencies? Okay, so I do see a couple of questions. How do you change the size if the picture's too large? Oh, okay, that's a good question. All right, so let me answer that one first. So how do you change if the picture's too large? So first off, if the picture's too large, double click on it and it will show you how big the picture is, right? You may be like, oh, I added this picture, and when you see it, oh, her head's cut off. The picture must be too large. So you double tap it, and then you can minimize it, or if it needs to be bigger, you grow it bigger. And all it is by pulling those little handles right off to the side. And that's where that difference makes. Now, if you decide, oh, no, I don't want to do that, it's fine. You can just cancel, or if you're done, you hit done. So that's the picture. Now, what was the other question? Uh-oh, Keith, it's out of my eye line. Now you have to tell me what the other question was.
It was about the transparencies, but you showed it just after I asked the question, so that is okay.
Okay, so you got the transparency. Perfect.
Yes, that's why I said thank you.
Yes. Oh, perfect. Perfect. Yes. Transparency is nice because maybe you want it darker. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want it just a little subdued so you can put text in here. Maybe you want more of it. And sometimes these templates are kind of transparent and grayed, and you're thinking, well, that's okay, but I'd like to see a little bit more of them. So that's a way that you can do that. And I thought somebody asked me about text, but now I can't remember. All right, well, if I didn't hit on it or I don't hit on it, then bring it back up to me. So this is the first, what I would say when I first started using Canva, this is like the basics. Just pop the picture up top, enter your text on the bottom, make sure that you have, oh, and down here is where you can zoom it. So if you do need to see more of it, you can zoom it in that area. So let's say that you had all this and you put it out there and then you forgot to add the address. Well, you can just come back in, you can put a text box here, you can add that, oops, double click on that and highlight it, Control A or highlight, that'll highlight all of them, and then enter in the address. You can update the text, you can change the text type up in here, and you can change the text size here. Now, if you want to play around with the sidebars, you can also change the text sometimes by doing different things of that nature, pulling it around or making it larger or smaller. Like this one has the handles, that's what we call on the side. So I can grow that, or maybe it was like this already and I realized, oh, that was too big. I need to squish that in there a bit more. I don't have to worry about what's up here. But if you watch up where the numbers are, and you'll see that it automatically does that on its own. So you don't have to go back and fix it. It'll fix it all on its own. So there's just a couple little tips that maybe you guys were wondering about text. So what's unusual is, like I said, this was my first ones that I started doing. And then now that I've been doing Canva a while, I feel like I'm putting out much better product. Now I understand, all right, here's the colors I can use. I can use this template. I can still have a logo. These are the fonts that I can use, and it's still Toastmaster approved. And that's quite a hard feat, you'll find, to be Toastmaster approved sometimes, but just do your best. There isn't really a PR police. We joke in the PR world that there is, because there's going to be somebody that's going to say that font isn't right, or, you know, you shouldn't have that picture. Well, maybe I shouldn't, but I did the best I could. So that's the Canva stuff. So before I move on to other things, do you have any questions about the Canva items? Because otherwise I'm going to move on. Good? We're good? Okay. Just making sure.
One quick question. So
Yeah.
all that stuff you were talking about that's in your PR file, you can load that all up to Canvas, so it's there to use.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So glad you did ask that. So let me go back there real quick. So where you do that is right here in Uploads, and then you go to Upload Media.
Oh, okay.
And then what's cool is if you have that image or those images in your Facebook group, you can go to Facebook. If you have that in your Dropbox, you can get it from Dropbox. If you loaded that and you have pictures that you took maybe at an event or, you know, district training or whatever, you can do it from Instagram. But if you have them in your folders, then you just go to your folders and then you would just upload that. Like, let's say I'm going to upload the screenshot to make a flyer about Zoom. So I just pick the screenshot of a Zoom meeting, boom, you see it uploads. There's a little color wheel off to the side saying I'm still thinking about it, and it's got a little cloud over it. And then once it's done, that little cloud is gone. And now I have this that I can use on anything that I want to. I can put it in there if I want, or I can say, nah, I don't want that, and put it back.
Can you put it in those boxes, like where it says photos or elements, or is that Canva stuff only?
So the photos and the elements is Canva only.
Okay,
so
you have a big file here.
Right, but what it does have in the Pro version, and mine is not Pro, it gives you folders. Okay. And then in the Pro version, you can put those image in folders, but in the regular version, the free version, you can't do that.
Okay.
Okay, so moving on, now I want to take you over to Facebook. And the reason why I want to take you to Facebook is especially because Facebook has changed so much. Doing events, pages, all of that type of stuff is just a little bit crazy right now. So first off, there's Facebook for your personal profile. If you're in a club, then you may have a Facebook page, but you might have a Facebook group. And the reason why you might have different is because people see different reasons why they would want one of each. So if you're a district, I highly suggest you have a page and groups because your district is big. I suggest you need a VPPR group so the people in your district on Facebook can talk to each other. It's nice to have a leaders group. It's nice to have a network group. There's lots that you can do in that field. And you can do different things within that. Now, what's better for one or the other? Well, it really all depends on what your club is like. What's your club demographic? Is it a closed club? Well, you probably just need a group then, because only the people that are in that closed or corporate club can access that group, and you can make it private. So there's some unique things with that. So I have, for Eloquent Entrepreneurs, we have a page. So in the page settings now, they're different. Everything is over here off to the left-hand side. Your home, the news feed for the page, your inbox. So if anybody has chatted with you, then if that'll come up, then you can see the chats. If people are trying to reach out to you, you can message them, etc. Facebook comments, see how that goes. So let me move this a bit so it's out of the way. Now, what is nice about having this is that in some ways it makes it a little bit easier. Everything is off to the left, but it kind of confuses some people when they're trying to find stuff out. So one of the things, I'm a social media strategist and a web strategist. I have been for 25 plus years. So the first thing that I always go to is insights. When I take over a club, or I'm VPPR new, or I'm new PRM or whatever, I like to go to the insights because I want to see how have they been doing. And that's what insights tell you. If you work in business atmospheres, a lot of time you hear about measuring your statistics. Like you have to measure first. Well, that's what I do. Where were we at? How are we doing? How's our reach, etc. And you would find that in insights. And you can even drill down to how many people like your page, to how many people are you reaching. So here's where the page likes happened, what day, where did they come from? And then reach tells you not necessarily that they liked your page, but your posts are getting out to this many people. Your posts are getting out to those benchmarks. Here's the reactions to those. People like things or they love things. Here's your total reach. Is it organic or paid? Well, I might look at this and be like, okay, what happened on February 17th? Because I sure reached a lot of people. So I might check that out and see where that information came from, what happened on that day, maybe, see why I did so well and why I haven't been doing well before. So that's one reason why it's important for you to look at those. You can also look at your page views, how many people are coming to your page. That may mean that it's time for a change for you. That may mean things are going really great. Keep it up. You can look at your post, events, all of the insights are within this area. Now, when you want to go back, you go back like you used to on like old school 90s, early 2000 with breadcrumbs. That's what that is called in that area. It's called breadcrumbs. And I really wish I could get my annotate to work because I wanted to show that to you guys, but it's not working today. So you click on this, which is the breadcrumb going back to where you're at, and you're back on the main page. Now we have a picture of our club meeting here, etc. Somebody speaking, Tom Hobbs, if you know him. A lot of people do. We have it set up under the nonprofit heading, which gives us just the general. You can also do it as business, events, any photos that we might have had, and then all the rest of what is in there. Okay, you have videos, community, etc. This year, I'd highly suggest using videos if you can. Get your club to do videos. Get everybody to say a little something on a Zoom and share that on your page as a video. That's another great thing that you can do. There's so many different tips and things that you can do about that. Your newsfeed here, don't get confused with your personal newsfeed. This is the newsfeed for that page, for that club. And since I don't have that set up, there's nothing there. That's why that thing popped up there. Now, what I do have is we have an event coming up soon. So why is that one always there in my way? Okay, so now if I wanted to, and what I do for this area, for this page, let me get back to here to the home, is I like to post regularly. If I can get down there, drives me crazy. They have that all up there now. but I like to show our Zoom meetings. That's one of the fun things that I like to show. So we had our Zoom meeting. We had many Iowa guests this morning. Come find us, and then I send them the link and I take a picture of the Zoom and share that. I ask everyone, do you mind if I take a picture of you? If you don't want your picture taken, please just turn your video off and it'll have your name. And I try to do this at the end, so that way, if people are really adamant that they don't even want to be involved, they can leave and their name isn't even showing at all. So most of the time you don't have the issue, but there are some people who want that. This is conducive to fear of missing out, right? Oh, that looked like a fun meeting and I know people from Iowa. Oh, that would have been cool. I'm going to have to catch them the next time. So taking a picture of your Zoom, this is the simple and easy thing to do for PR, believe me, because all you have to do is screenshot it, make sure everyone's on board with it, and then upload it. Use your website link or your free Toast link for them to find out information. That's all that I have is my free Toast link there. Now, I do have other times where I've shared the upcoming guest night. So I shared the flyer in here, said when it is, and just posted it directly. But what I don't have is I don't have an event created for this yet. So what I'm going to do is do that with you, because I want to make sure that you guys understand that, because this is the other area that can be really useful to clubs. So you create a new event, and again, all your stuff goes over here off to the side. And because we're no longer having in person, they have made it easier. So you can go straight to, yep, it's going to be an online event, and yes, it's going to be free. And then you can put your event name here. So let's say we're going to be having our guest night. That's going to be March 10th. You just click on that and find the date. That is at 7 p.m. Thank you for knowing that. I will not worry about the location because it's going to be online. And then I can put the description in here. Oops, sorry, no, not 10 p.m. 7 to 8:30 p.m. My wrist got in the way. Then you can enter your description in here. And of course, I would enter more description later. Category. Facebook doesn't have a lot of great categories because our stuff really doesn't apply. It doesn't just say meeting. It's can't it just say meeting? Because that's really what I need. So what I usually do is either other, or I believe I do, where is it? Networking. Yeah, networking, which it kind of is. And then you hit next. Now, are you going to have Facebook Live, other? Is it going to be Zoom? It's going to be Zoom. So I click on other, and then I click next. And what's weird is you can't see it right away, but you have to mouse over that area and you see that scroll bar. So then it checks for the event settings. So do you want to show the guest list? Do you want to have any other co-host? Maybe your VP of education and your president want to be a co-host on the page, or maybe membership. You can add that there and then they can have access to it as well. Show the guest list. Do you want to be the only one to post in an event? How do you want to do that? And then you just say save. And once you are all ready to go, then you can create the event. Well, the event, hopefully I saved it in the right spot, that flyer. Let's go to downloads. Oh, it's not in there. Might have to go grab it in a minute. So we're going to create that, and I'll grab the flyer to show you how to edit that. And of course, it takes a minute. And this will pop up all the time because Facebook wants your money. Don't give them your money. Don't boost the events. It's just not worth it. I have done boosting. I don't find it to be worth it at all. So I can leave it like this. I can put the flyer in there, etc. What's unique about that is now I can share it. I usually put the Zoom information in here. I don't have that right now, but you can put that in here in the ticket information and you can start sharing it. So that's really great for your general information. Then right here, the event by, if you want to go back to your page, you just click on that and that'll take you back to the page. Now, there's another cool trick with Facebook as far as events go. So we're going to do it again, but this time we're still going to do online because we're doing online events and free. Now we're going to say regular meeting. And our regular meeting will be next Wednesday on the 3rd, and it'll actually be at 7:30 a.m. So you would put that in there, and you can put the end date and time if you so desire, which would be 8:30. Now, regular meeting, and there's an area where you can say to repeat this event. And of course, I can't find it in this setting. Oh, that's right. I have to do this part. Let's do this. We'll say networking for now. We'll do other, and we'll add that link later. And where is it? Sure, when I'm hosting a live webinar, I can't find it. Yeah, that's just the way the ball bounces. No, we're not going to boost that. But now you have your regular meeting here, and oh, okay, that's right, because you can duplicate the event. So they took it away where it's like just continuous, but you can duplicate the event for each week, which is another feature that is really nice, because you can have this out here for next week's meeting. And then when this one is done, you just go in here and you say duplicate the event, and then you can invite your friends to it. So what's cool about it is that you can invite the friends that are like, well, I really want to come, but I can't come this week. And they're the type that's maybe like me, that want to have that calendar invite. They want that remembrance. They want a way to say, oh yes, you know, that's coming up. And Facebook, if they add this, they say they're interested or they're going, it's going to pop up a message to them and say, hey, didn't you want to go to this event? The other cool thing is that they can export it and add it to their calendar. So if you ever wanted to do that, if you didn't know how, you go to the 3 little buttons here and you go to export event. And of course it's not working. Usually it's working, and it exports it to your Google Calendar or to your iCalendar. So let me see. Is Zoom info in this event page at any list? Paul, that was Paul. Where'd you go? Explain that. Is Zoom info in this event page at any less risk of exposure to Zoom bombers than Zoom info in a regular post?
Well, you were showing as you were creating the event, it says that, your options for online, and you say, Facebook Live versus other, and whatever other choices are after that. After you select other, what are you going to do for a Zoom indication at that point? Nothing, or as opposed to like throwing a Zoom link in there, which.
So I will throw a Zoom link in there,
Okay.
but see, I also have protections before then. So, and I've talked about this on other sites, but so I'll just briefly mention it. But on your Zoom, on the Zoom side, you have to set the protections. So like for this event, I have it closed that only I can share, that I have a waiting room, which you had to go into, and that no one else is a co-host except for me. Now, if you're doing a big event, you would want to make sure that no one else has sharing but you, because that's what happens with the bombers. They come in, one, you don't know who they are, so that's why you want the waiting room. And
Yeah.
Two, a lot of times people don't have that listed correctly, and so they have that radio dial listed as anyone can share, but then somebody comes in and they start sharing all kinds of crazy stuff. Now, the last thing is on Zoom that you want to make sure in your settings is there's a link off to the side that says embed password in the link, and you can check that no, check it no. That's where you get the most Zoom bombers right there, is because when that password link is shared, they don't have to do anything. They can just come in and bomb your room. So if you have that turned off, there's no issue on having a Zoom bomber, because you can share your Zoom link all across the board and not be concerned with it. Where you hear about these crazy situations are because somebody did not turn off embed link in password. And that says, and you can, I'll tell you how you can tell anytime. Look at a link on like a district page or somewhere. And as you're reading it, if it says PWD right in the middle of the link, they didn't turn it off. That means that person who shared that link is highly susceptible to being Zoom bombed. And I just saw, who asked that? Catherine. Yes, I have been Zoom bombed. And
Yeah,
here's
and
what
I have not, fortunately, but the not quite a year ago when we had to go online like this, we in District 6 had one of our earliest online speech contests bombed.
Oh,
You know, so
well,
we learned the hard way about that stuff.
Hopefully it wasn't too bad, but I've been in some really bad ones.
Neo-Nazi white supremacist stuff.
So that was about kind of close to what was going on, but it was for, here's what was sad. It was for a district guest night. The guest speaker, who was a very acclaimed speaker, said, hey, everyone, I'm going to be blah, blah, blah at this meeting. And so you should all come hear me. And he has a huge Twitter following. The person in the district who had created it, the PQD, did not take off the password thing. So what he shared was an open passworded, link. So all they had to do was click on it. And next thing you know, it was taken over. They didn't have the protections down. Everyone was allowed to share. They were taking the annotate button and writing NI not so good words on the board. And there was about 6 or 7 Black people on there who was very offended by what they were writing. And they showed porn. And I won't tell you graphically what porn, but it was not what we all wanted to see. That's the worst I've ever been in. And since then, let me tell you, that district is really cautious now. They are very protective. And I'm glad that they are, because you need to be. Do we hear as much about Zoom bombing? Not so much anymore, because we've done it enough that most people know, but there's still brand new clubs coming up. Or there's clubs that have said, I'm not going back to Toastmasters until we go back to regular. Sure, that was a year ago. And now you're like, okay, maybe I'll get into Toastmasters. And so now they're trying to figure out how to maneuver things. So that's just something you have to be protective. You can put those Zoom links out there and have no issue. It kind of makes me laugh when people change the Zoom meeting every single week. Stop doing that. You don't have to do that. Just make sure that you don't have the embedded password. Make sure that you have a waiting room so you can track who's coming in and out. And if you really don't know who someone is, say, hey, Deborah, do you know, Paul over in Minneapolis? And she'll be like, yeah, I know Paul, he's cool, let him in. Or you'll say, I don't know a Paul. And then what's cool is you now can have a chat with those people in the waiting room and say, who invited you? Or, why are you here, etc. So it seems a little like the helicopter monitoring, but you kind of have to be that way if you don't really know. When you start getting that comfortability, it won't be an issue. If you make sure you follow those Zoom rules, and they're out there on the internet, how to keep yourself from being Zoom bombed. If you just Googled that, it would tell you everything I just said. Waiting room, chat, share, protections, don't use the password. Then you can put your Zoom link on a flyer. You can put it out in Toastmasters International board. You can put it on your Facebook board. You can put it on anything. But if you still want to be protective, there's other ways to be protective, and that's things like Eventbrite.
Yeah, and many of our speech contest organizers are handling it that way. Yeah, I'm doing all the stuff about waiting room and checking who all's in there. And when somebody's name is iPhone, who are you? Definitely doing that, but that's already when the event has taken place, and up to that point, it hasn't been well publicized because we've been so cautious about not getting the link out there. And that's just, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking about what's going on ahead of time, because I want the news about our event to go out to not just half a dozen people I know personally. I want to get broader publicity.
Well, what's the point in PR if you can't use it, right? I mean, so
yeah.
that's the thing. So if you have those protections, then you're fine. And even when I was district PR and they would have an embedded link, they don't really like me too much because I'd be like, I'm not sharing that. That's not safe for us. I've told you guys 1,000 times, don't have that. Go take that link off and make sure that it's fine. Well, they didn't want to do that and they just went ahead and shared it themselves, and then they ended up getting Zoom bombed again. So now they don't do that anymore. I saw a chat real quick. Oh, how do you chat with people in the waiting room? So it's in your Zoom settings. So again, it's in the back end. And if you go to Zoom help or tutorial, it can give you more detail on that. But all it is going in and changing the settings that allow you to, it'll say, allow you to chat with people in the waiting room, turn that on. So if somebody comes into the waiting room, then you're able to ask them a couple of questions. You can also have, there's so many ways to do stuff now. You can also have Zoom registration, and you'll see that sometimes for conferences like district conferences or at TLI, Toastmasters Leadership Institute, they'll have you register with Zoom, right? Or I just noticed that for training, they had you register with Zoom. Okay, that's great. You can do that and you have all the info, but you don't need to. However, it's also good to. Now, here's why, especially when we're talking about Zoom bombing. So when you have these events, if you still make them register, even if you have it on Eventbrite, or like for my PR webinars, I shared the link on Facebook, but when you clicked on that link, you still had to register on Zoom to be here tonight. And why that is because if any of you was naughty, then I can report you to Zoom and say, oh, Sue Haverberg, she was not really good. But we know that's not true. We know Sue's great. But it helps you to track that, right? So don't just have an open-ended link. Have them still have to register or be a registered user. There's another settings that you can say they have to sign in. They have to register to actually join this link. So that means they either have to sign into their Zoom, which then they have the information, or they have to register for that. And that just helps you really to have the list for your attendees, yes, but it also on the Zoom bombing side helps you to make sure that you're protected. The biggest reason why people do registration is not to protect them for Zoom bombing. It's to make sure that at the end of this, I have everyone's list and now I can send you information. That's the main reason, but it also protects you. All right. So we're getting not getting a little off track, but that's okay. It happens. But I want to take you guys over to Eventbrite.
My apologies.
It's okay. No, you're fine. That's what these questions are for. And that's why I tried to give a little bit more time. So if you look here, I just did a basic search for Toastmasters. Look at all these Toastmasters meetings. Toastmasters meeting, Build a Better You with Toastmasters, Toastmasters at the Square Club meeting, Toastmasters on a Stick virtual Toastmasters meeting. People are using this to register people for their club meetings. And they're using this on a regular basis to be able to have information. Why does that matter at all? Well, because now you have this information and you have all of the registration information. So you can choose, how you want to look things up on Eventbrite. You can look for Toastmasters, but you can also create an event. Now, I'm not going to go through creating an event for you, but because you did register with me, I'm going to give you this link, which is how to grow your Toastmasters club using Eventbrite. And you can write it down and look it up in YouTube if you want, but I will be sending it to you. And then I also have a PDF because PR Promote the Possibilities just did a webinar about how to use Eventbrite for club meetings. And I don't want to reinvent the wheel. It's very detailed. I really, really love it. It tells you everything that you need to do. So it's something that you might want to consider doing that's a little out of the box. Now, why would everyone start using Eventbrite? Well, yes, it helps you to register the people, which is nice because now you have their information. So if they're guests, which many of them who are probably coming from Eventbrite would be, Well, guess what? You just helped your membership person, because now they've got an email that they can go back and say, hey, thank you so much for registering. And they can even print out an attendance sheet and they can see, oh, this person actually showed up. And then they can follow up with that person with their email and then go back and say, all right, we had 10 people register, but only 3 showed up. I need to contact these other 7 and say, hey, we really missed you. And here's now our next meeting. So it's great resource for that. The other reason, PR, because like Paul was saying, he wants to reach an audience that isn't just the same people, the club and the friend of a club, the friend of another friend. Yeah, that's good on Facebook, but you have to do more on Facebook than just posting on your page and posting on your group. You have to share in other groups. You have to share on other platforms. You have to link it to places. That's like, I could probably spend a whole year teaching people how to use Facebook for Toastmasters. There's just so much you can do. But if you want to think outside the box, Eventbrite is another way to do that, because now you're seeing people that are going there specifically for an event. And because people are so used to being on Zoom, on Google Meet, or whatever they're using, they are looking for something that they can do, and they're looking for those meetings. Some people use Meetup, and you can still use Meetup for online meetings if you want, but some people are starting to now use Eventbrite because people are specifically looking for meetings. And what's cool is on Eventbrite, it actually says meeting, not networking like Facebook's. That's why I hate that Facebook doesn't really have that, because it's not really networking. I don't want people to come to a Toastmasters meeting thinking it's BNI and they can hand out all their business cards. Well, no, but sometimes that happens, right? So those are just the 2 little things on Eventbrite. And I'm not going to get super into that because, like I said, I'm going to send you that information later. But I do want to share with you the ease, because I do have my own Eventbrite because I host events. I just hosted a 14 speaker event called Heartfilled Seminars. So it tells me right here about my event, and I did it as donation. So I didn't make a lot of money, but that was fine. But I sold 75 out of 100 tickets. So if you're having a conference or a TLI, or you want to track that, maybe you're not using Constant Contact like we are in District 26. Maybe you want something that's different like this that you can use. Eventbrite's a great way to do that for Toastmasters Leadership Institutes, conferences, or even your regular meetings. And all the tools are very simple, just like most everything else. Let me get over here so I can edit. There we go. So here's the event dashboard. It shows you just the basics, your basic info, your details of your event, etc., how things happened. It gives you stats afterwards, and this is all stuff that you can manage beforehand, which is really nice. It helps you with marketing. Here's your marketing overview. You can do paid ads. You can not do paid ads. You can do affiliate programs. And for those of you who do get guest speakers for your events, affiliate programs are a great way to reward your speaker if you are paying them or want to pay them. If it's a paid event, like you're making money from it, this is a great way that I do that. I do an affiliate for my speakers. That way, when they share it, they get a little bit of money. So that's just under the affiliate program. You can manage the attendees, which is nice because you can add attendees. So let's say your friend is like, hey, I really want to go to that. And you're saying, well, we give the Zoom link out to those who are on Eventbrite. So you just add her email into Eventbrite. Or you can email all the attendees at once, which is really, really nice. And like I said, it does give you that attendee list at the end. So, and you can put it into Excel or whatever, PDF, and then it shows you all of the people who went to the event, and it shows all of their emails. There, everything's right there. I have the information. I have all that I need for them. So lots of great tools for Toastmasters clubs. So just wanted to precursor on that a little bit. All right, now I want to talk to you about Instagram. So Instagram, you will see here on the page, Toastmasters International is on Instagram. And I'm showing you this on my computer because it's a lot easier than me trying to show you on my phone. However, Instagram is phone. Don't get that mixed up. If you want to load a picture, you have to load it on your phone. So whoever's the PR has to create that account and have that account, but you can have multiple people have access to that. What I always do is I have a simple, email password, and I try and have, if it's for the district, have a district email that is all inclusive. If you don't have that, you can have, like we had district26@gmail.com, and then everyone had the password and the access to district26@gmail.com. So we could all go in through that. And then that's what we registered for Instagram, because you have to register an email. So we registered district26@gmail.com. And then whenever I would hand off my PR to Keith Horowitz or the next person, then he just has that same information. I remove it from my phone, and now he has access to it. What's cool is that you can still program pictures. You can get pictures sent to your email or things like that and load them up to Instagram. But you may be wondering, well, why would I use it? What's the point of it? Well, PR, again, it's the basis of you want to go, no matter what you're thinking about as far as social media, you always want to go where the people are. Where are the people? They're on Eventbrite, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, and they're on Nextdoor. And we'll talk a little bit about that as a surprise at the end, because I've been talking to other people about how to use Nextdoor. Instagram is a great tool. Toastmasters International does it. They have their basics here. These things up here that you see, traveling TM, recognition, press release, those are called highlights, that once you do a story in your Instagram, then you can make that a highlight. And it's kind of fun and unique how that gives that to them, and it just pops up. It just comes in. This is basic Instagram. If you've never seen it, showing the pictures, they're doing a lot of traveling Toastmasters. But what's cool is if you do a search, well, here we are again. Look at all these Toastmasters clubs that are using Toastmasters. They're using Instagram for Toastmasters, left and right and left and right. Now, again, like all social media, I often reiterate, please make sure you're following the branding guidelines. And the reason why I say that is because while I'm scrolling right here, I see this one right here, Q8, that's using the old banner logo. They've banned that. Toastmasters headquarters does not want us using that. So if you have that, don't use that. Sometimes people are using their own version of their logo. You're not supposed to do that either. You use the Toastmasters logo. This little circle, that circle right there. Don't screw with it. Don't add stuff to it. Don't try and make it funky. Just let it be. It's their brand. It's like McDonald's doesn't want their arches to be purple all of a sudden. You just have to think of it that way. So there's a lot of unique. Now I want to show you something else that's unique is the hashtag Toastmasters. So if you're not familiar with hashtags, that's what this is. If it shows that little pound sign or number sign, as some people know before, that means hashtag. And you may have seen that on Facebook or Twitter or other places. And what's cool is if you were to click on that hashtag, then anyone who used that or typed that at the end of their post is going to show up in here. So that's something that you always want to do when you're posting on social media is post your hashtag District 26 Toastmasters, hashtag Edmonton Toastmasters, whatever that is, whatever your hashtag or your clue is. The @ symbol is how they get at you, basically. Like, how do they get to you? If they click on that, then that takes them to your profile. The hashtag takes them to topic content. So this is really cool when you look at, look at all these people and what they're sharing, and they're tagging Toastmasters. And it's nice because you can tag Toastmasters and Toastmasters International and use the @ symbol, and you get a little bit more recognition on both of those co-joined pages because now that's showing up. If you start creating your own hashtag, you may create it, it may be like Edmonton Toastmasters, and there isn't a hashtag for that. And so the first time you post it, there's one picture. But what's cool is next year or in a few months, when you go back and you look at that hashtag, you can see all the other people that have been using it. And that's a great PR push. When you have a chance to talk to your district, say, hey, we have a new hashtag. When you post a photo, hashtag Edmonton Toastmasters or hashtag Costa Rica Toastmasters. And then that starts populating, and have them also use the @ symbol or tag you on Facebook using what your word is on Facebook, you know, whether it's D26 Toastmasters after Facebook, have them tag you, because then that starts showing up in your feed as the district leader or the region leader, or area director, or even president, because then you start seeing where people are using it. And you can use that for rewards, bonuses, awards, or just even getting more recognition and getting the word out about yourself a lot more. This is District 106, and I want to show them because they're in Region 4 where I'm at, and I really like what they do. I like a lot of things that different groups do, but I really like how Jessica manages this. She has a little quote. She got this template off of the stationary templates on the headquarters page, and she has a little quote about them and then who they are. Sometimes she has different things in here about, you know, can you be a member of too many clubs? Asking for a friend. Like, that's a funny joke, right? Because we always say that. We ask a question, then we say, well, asking for a friend. So that was kind of a cute thing that she did, and that generated some content. You know, well, not a lot, it happened 6 likes, but what we don't see on this is how many people got led to D106 Toastmasters off of this post. Just because they didn't like it doesn't mean they didn't see it. So remember that, because I think a lot of people think, oh, only 6 people liked it. Well, that doesn't mean only 6 people saw it. So that's just a little fun thing that you can do. She does a lot of very structured things. So she has a certain look. If you've gone to Instagram, certain groups have certain looks. Well, now I want you to see District 26. So I'm not over this anymore. Keith Horowitz is, but I'm the proponent for starting this because I felt like it was very important for us to have. We were able to post our guest night here. They used tinyURL, and that was a way, since we had the first Zoom bombing, when they did this the second time, because they did it again, they didn't put the Zoom link out there. They just put the tinyURL out there, and then that took them to a Zoom registration page. So lots of uniqueness there. Now, what they're doing now is a little bit different. So they're doing it more like showing almost like what a press release would be, but it's getting the information out there. I just highly wouldn't suggest it because that's a lot to read. And people don't really come to Instagram to read. They want to come and look at the pretty pictures. That's what Instagram is about, honestly. So you can do stuff like this. I'm not going to tell you no. If you think that's easier and it's getting the word out, getting the word out's getting the word out. It's kind of like there's no bad press. I mean, if you're getting the word out, do it. But there's lots of just other ways of doing things, like showcasing, there's the girl again, New Year's Eve fun, yay, she's so excited. And that's a Toastmasters approved brand photo. So that's something that you can use. You can use those anytime. Different things that they have in here. So not approved, Halloween party, anything like that. I don't care if it's going to be at your house or whatever, if it's hosted by Toastmasters or it's for Toastmasters. No funky fonts, no crazy witches, no moons, no dripping text. That's not Toastmaster approved. Could you do it and get away with it? Well, evidently, but I don't suggest it. So they share other things that are on here, different people. We've shared videos and things like that. So there's a lot that you can do with it. Now, the hardship of me talking to you about Instagram is that I can't super really show it to you because you don't add pictures through here. You add pictures from your phone. But what you can do is you can actually create those pictures and then put them on to your Instagram. So over here, we were talking about like the PR webinars, right? So I could take that and I could send it to myself. So I could download it like we did, blah, blah, blah. And then I could go here in Gmail and send it right to myself. And then from my phone, I could open it up in Gmail. And then I would actually, I'm going to stop sharing here just so I can show you. Then I would go to my phone, go to my Instagram. It's always a weird tilt how to show you. And then they moved the buttons, but up in here is a plus sign, a little hearts, and then a little messages. So let me see if I can get you guys to see it a little bit. It's so weird to show. There we go. I got to think left and right. So your main buttons are up here. Okay. So you have your plus, which is going to allow you to post, your hearts, which allows you to see any comments that people did. And then from there, it's the messages button. And what's cool about that is then you can hit your post here and you go to your email. So you would go to gallery and you would go to your email gallery to your photos, and then you would load that picture. That's pretty cool. You can also do a story in here, and those stories can be shared to your Facebook page, to your Facebook group. And oops, I lost my Instagram. Let's go out of there. And if you go to your settings, in the settings, it has, where'd it go? It has to be such a weird tilt for you guys to see it. It's so strange. I feel like a ghost. Okay, it doesn't like me today. The one joys of media. But one of the great things about it that I liked for Instagram was more when we had actual live events. It's a little bit harder now in the virtual world to keep up with Instagram because you're having to do this cross post of, like I said, send it to your Gmail and then find it on your phone. But one of the cool things that I liked is you can link your Facebook page. So let's use District 26 because that's what I used it for. On my Instagram, I linked it to my District 26 Facebook. Somebody's giving a talk, or it's contest time, or it's TLI, or it's conference, and we've got, you know, Bradley Beck or Press Vasilev or whatever, Richard Peck is speaking. Well, I can go snap, 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 take a picture, send it to Instagram, it automatically goes to my Facebook page. And now, boom, I hit 2 sets of social media that people are watching. And for me in District 26, it got to be known that, well, if I'm not at the event, it's okay. I'll feel like I'm at the event because Trixie takes so many pictures and posts them on Instagram and social media that I know that I'm going to see what's going on. I may not be able to hear everything, but oh, Richard's talking now. Oh, now, you know, Jacqueline's talking. Oh, now the PQD is talking. You know, you get a basis of it, and then you can pull those things out later. And it's generating that traffic on that day. So it's really great to use for those live events. Yes, it's something that you can still use during this time. But like I said, it's a little bit more cumbersome. But what's cool is you can use Canva to make an Instagram post. You save that. And if you're using something like Dropbox, you can have Dropbox on your phone. That's what makes it the easiest, is when you save it to your Dropbox folder on your computer, and then that syncs with your phone, and then you can just upload it to Instagram straight from your phone. So any flyer that you make, etc. Now, if you're not somebody that likes to be on their phone very much, forget what I just said about Instagram, because you're going to need to be on your phone. Now, if you're like my mom and you like to just watch Hallmark shows and be on your phone and kind of hang out, well, that might be for you, right? Because you already did the work on the computer and now you have all of those things in your Dropbox. Oh, I can sit down with my coffee or wine and I can load stuff up to the district or to the club or whatever you want to do. So it has its advantages and disadvantages depending on what you do and how you want to do it. All right, before I stop to ask any questions, I want to tell you one more thing because we need to end here by 7:30. So I want to show you Nextdoor. And I don't know if you guys have thought about Nextdoor yet for your clubs or for your districts, etc. And the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because I found out about this 2+ years ago. Sarah Beasley, who is in District 26, started, and charted a club in less than 30 days by using Nextdoor.com. And I said, all right, that's it. I got to find out how this happened. I want to know. And found out, oh, she used events and she did her flyers in Canva and then posted them in Nextdoor. So there's lots of great things that you can utilize with this. So one of the things is that there's groups. And if you see, you might see off to the side, I have 2 groups there that might look like Toastmasters. Well, they are. Eloquent Entrepreneurs, I'm the VPPR for, and South Glen Speakers, I'm technically a VPPR, but I'm their coach right now. So I'm trying to give them other suggestions. So especially if you're a struggling club, Nextdoor is a great way to start thinking outside of the box, because now you have a new resource that you can utilize. Made the flyer in actually, I didn't make this one, but Scott, the president, made this in Canva, sent it to me, and then I shared a little bit, just like you would on any other social media or a Facebook page. This is kind of like a Nextdoor kind of group, right? It's Nextdoor group. Here's the information, and then you can invite people. We're slow going. We've only had it up for a month. It's just, and they only meet 2 times a month. So we're trying to get more information out there, etc. But here's a message that I asked him to be a member since he is in this area. And he pinned this post that talks about South Glen Speakers. It gives people the information. Well, then here's a flyer that they were doing. So we have the ice cream social coming up, and we're going to have an ice cream theme, etc. So that's another way to get people involved. Here's another flyer we had up there. So it gets people kind of in the know, because there's a group and they can go to that group. Now, Eloquent Entrepreneurs, same thing, little bit new for us, 9 members, not a lot, but what I did was I took that virtual meeting background that had a bunch of people in here that none of us knew, and I asked the club, hey club, send me your bio pictures, and I'm going to put your picture in here, because now it's personal. Now I've taken this one that was just a standard one with all these branded photos and put our photos in them, and now people really know these are the people of Eloquent Entrepreneurs. Meet with us every Wednesday morning, and then here's that flyer again that we saw earlier. So it is in this area, but what else is cool about Nextdoor is events. So you can put events in here and list when you're having different events. So here in Nextdoor, I have the event. It says it's online for our Toastmasters Fun Night. People can say if they're going or not going. You can share it to different social media. You can share it to Twitter, Facebook. You can private message it or copy it to the keyboard, so that way, clipboard, so you can add it to email, or you can put it somewhere else. You can add it to a different flyer. I like to copy it to the clipboard and then go to home. And this is where I get the most traction, is that then I go into post. So posting on Nextdoor is very neighborhood friendly, but this is great because it's like the days of when we used to go and put a bunch of flyers on the car, right? Or we're standing there at some lunch desk like, hey, would you like to hear about Toastmasters? Hey, would you like to hear about Toastmasters? Well, now you don't have to do that because Nextdoor does that for you. So now you choose a category, and that would be general. And then you say fun guest night, can't spell, at Toastmasters. And you can add the link, you can add more info. I like to just do it real simple and give them a teaser because I don't want them to get all the information here. I want them to come to that event page and I want them to tell me if they're going. So now you say, what neighborhoods do you want it to go into? Well, it used to be, before pandemic, very, very closed and cracked down. Nextdoor was like, if you guys are, 10 miles away, you're not in my neighborhood, so you couldn't see what I was doing. Well, then they started opening it up so that way you could reach more people, which is great for PR. So I can say the nearby neighborhoods, just my neighborhood. I can say what groups I want, or I can say I want everyone/anyone to see this because we're virtual. So we want everyone to come, right? And then you post. And then, ta-da, your post is out there on the Nextdoor world. So now anyone that is on Nextdoor looking to be a part of a fun guest night of Toastmasters, they can now see this, comment on it, like it, heart it, whatever they want to do, just like you can on Facebook. And now you have more traction. Is there a lot more that you can do on here? Yes. And you can have a business account on here if your club wanted to pay for that, but then you have to pay for ads. And if you're really smart, I mean, PR is supposed to be as free as you can be. That's what I always say, right? So try and utilize as much free as you can. So there's a couple of different things for you to chew on and think about. Like I said, I wish I even had more time, because I could take one of these and talk for the next 4 hours on it. I've been doing web and social media for 25 plus years, to the point I almost need to say 30 years. I've been doing it so long. So it's just something that I really want to help people to understand. And the biggest reason why, I might not be here is because we might be moving, and we might be moving to Costa Rica or Puerto Rico, and I won't be attached to a club. So, we'll see how that goes. But for now, I wanted to be here, give you as much social media info as possible, because I feel like that's where we all are living right now. The biggest thing about social media is, remember, you want to go where the people are. And you want to hit the people that you want, right? So think about that too when you're thinking about the social media. A lot of my clients come to me, and I still have this, and I have this in Toastmasters, that people ask me this all the time too. Well, should I be on Facebook? Well, I don't know. What's your club demographic, or what's your business? Should you be on Facebook? What is it? Well, we're a senior community, and not a lot of us really have computers. Well, is anyone on Facebook? Probably not. Well, then that's probably not going to work for you. Maybe you need something else. Maybe you need old school radio, or maybe you need an ad in a newspaper. There's a lot of free newspapers or a lot of newspapers that you can put your club information in for free. Down here in Denver Tech Center, there's a Greenwood Village magazine and a Greenwood Village newspaper. And to list your calendar item, totally free. And most of what I found in other newspapers is, if it's merely a calendar item, totally free. They will not give you any habosh about it. But if you want to put an ad, or you want to talk about your networking night, okay, then you're going to have to pay for it. But you can do a lot of that with the free resources. And the VPPR Google Drive that I'm going to send to you guys has a media list, has an online forms list. And while a lot of it is towards me in Colorado and Wyoming in my district area, there's a tab at the end that says online forms. And any of you, every single one of you on this call, and any who's listening, can utilize those. Some of them might be for a certain area, but like one is like just for the United States or something. But there's some that, like Mapado, you can use, and it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Mapado, you can put, it's MapADO, you can put your event on there, and they like guarantee it almost all the time. So there's a lot that you can do with that. The templates will be in there for you. And you are always welcome to email me, ask me any questions. If you want me to hop on a Zoom with you and help you to figure that out, or if you have a flyer you want me to take a look at, or maybe you need a little hand holding in Canva or one of these apps, if I'm around, I'd be happy to help you. A lot of this social media has those tutorials in there if you look at the help menu, but sometimes they're a little like, what? I read that, but I didn't really read that because I don't think I understand what you mean. So I know it doesn't matter if you look at 10 tutorials, sometimes just having somebody be there to help you is a nice help. So I'm there for you. Before we go, are there any last questions that I can answer for you guys?
Well, Trixie, I don't know what your official role as Region 4 PRO is, but one of the problems I know in our district is getting information about social media and how to use it out to the clubs. And this tonight you've been fantastic. I know I would have loved to spend another 3 hours in each one of those. But here's what my vision is, that if we can create, maybe it's you in Region 4 creating a group where people, you're very knowledgeable, but there's other people that are knowledgeable too. And what we need is to find out where those resources are. So we're trying to create a group, a PR group here in D99. But the guy that's organizing it can't speak for 2 hours every month, right? So we need to know where the resources are, people that would put it on, or maybe there's just videos up there of people that have done this. Is that a doable thing for you, or?
Well, it is possible, but what I'll tell you is that there is a Facebook group called Resources for Toastmasters.
Okay.
And I'll write that down to send to you guys too, resources to remind you for Toastmasters, and a couple of other links. There's another one. If you go to Facebook and you go to the groups area, and I'll even show you real quick. Let's see. Let's hop over there. Let's see here. Okay, so if you go here to groups, which is the like little people icon, and then you search group and you were to enter Toastmasters, like whatever you're looking for, you can be detailed, right? Resources. These are the ones I was just talking about. Resources for Toastmasters, online Toastmasters resources. So online Toastmasters resources talks a lot about resources for online, and resources for Toastmasters talks about everything. They do talk a lot about online stuff, but it's not necessarily online. So those are two groups that are already discussing that. And then there used to be a PR group. Oh, right. Toastmaster VP PR group. Right now there's about 855 people in it. And then there was another one. Where did that go? It was a gentleman. I might have to ask on the international board, because he had a whole PR group that he was doing, but I heard that he might not be doing it anymore. I'm not really sure. But if you even just look in the groups area of Toastmasters, you'll see all the ones with the blue arrows are ones that I'm in. The members group, resources for Toastmasters. Oh, and this other one, Toastmaster clubs with online attendance community. 4,000.1, so 4K members. That one is the one that started before all these little ones kind of came about. And a lot of people post a lot of online information in there. And then the online training for Toastmasters is what you just said, like the webinars and things like that. They do that in this online training for Toastmasters. So a lot of those are right there for you to take a look at. And just go to groups, hit Toastmaster search, and I think you'll find a lot of those. You'll see where they're at. There's that online Toastmasters as well. And and then there's the other one, Worldwide Toastmaster Online Group, 4K members, and they're doing really good. And look at here, 199 members. So does that help a little bit? That gives you at least some resources for now.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions or comments, Sue?
There's also Promote the Possibilities.
Yes, that was next.
That you're going to be speaking at soon, hopefully.
Yes.
And we're a brand new club.
Yeah, that's the group that was doing the Eventbrite. That's how I learned about it.
Right, and so we focus just on learning how to do PR and all the other stuff that is involved with promoting any type of possibility with media and stuff.
So that's a Facebook group?
Well, we're a Toastmasters group.
Oh, okay.
But they have a Facebook presence, yes.
Yes, we have a very good Facebook presence, and we are looking for new members. We're chartering right now. Yeah, they're doing really good. Yes, and I have been asked to be a guest speaker on there. We just don't know when and what yet. Depends on what they want me to talk about. Good. Sheila, did you have something?
No, I just wanted to say thank you so much. You really showed me a lot of stuff. I mean, this is awesome.
This is why I record it. And, it's funny because since inception, I've only been a member since 2016, but I dove straight in, and I've always done social media, and that's where they put me. Social media, Rhea Thompson was like, hey, I hear you could do social media. And then the next year I was PR, and then it was PR. I ended up in the PR world because social media is so close. But I just really dove right in and learned everything that needed to be done. And then I became friends with the Headquarter Club because they're here in Colorado. And I'm a member of the Headquarters Club now as a charter member of them. And so you have that connection. You hear a lot of things that not everyone does. What's so funny is no matter where I've been from 2016 till now, people still say getting information from you, Trixie, is like drinking water from a fire hose.
Yeah.
And I try not to be that way, but it's just so much information that
Yeah.
want to lump what I can in, even if it's here's a nibble, here's a nibble, here's a nibble. At least you guys get some of it and you get some basis, and I just want to set you up for success. That's one thing Toastmasters
Oh, you
taught
sure
me,
did.
is to set up your counterparts for success, help your successors. And to me, all of you are my successors, right? So we're all successors of each other, actually. So
Yes.
anything that I could do to help, and I really appreciate it. If you want me to come speak or do a little mini educational session at a club, at an area, at a conference, at whatever, I've done keynotes, so anything that you need of me, I'm happy to do. Okay.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much.
All right. Any other last comments or questions? Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and leave here. Think we're all good? Thank you, everyone, for coming. Yes, please contact me. You should be receiving some information from me as well, and I will get more information to you as I can. This will be sent to you, the recording, as soon as it is done loading, which takes a day, a couple of days. I put it to my YouTube, and then it will also be, like I said, when this ends, it's in the Facebook group, the event that you can share straight from Facebook, since we were streaming live as well. Okay, everyone, have a good night. Mwah! Be
Thank you.
fabulous.